Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 2nd of August and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, in the today's video, we'll discuss the entire analysis of the newspaper along with all the articles as well as the way forward. Now, first of all, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for the Telegram channel is given in the description box in YouTube. Fine, so you can download the notes here. You can see that the notes along with the detailed background etc have been shared. Now moving on, first of all, let's see the overview of entire newspaper. So guys, here on the first page we largely have the news with respect to the crisis conflicts going on in the Haryana and Manipur. Okay, guys, for the exam we are not required to go and track the details here. However, both are the misfortunate events that are happening. Then further moving on, Patna High Court finds caste based survey of Bihar government perfectly valid, allowed resumption. So basically guys, the Bihar government has started the caste survey few months back, but then the Patna High Court imposed a kind of a temporary withholding of that particular caste census because of there were certain concerns that were coming, but now it has been allowed. Then further moving on guys, in the city section we have largely the regional issues, find the DU university admissions and all such kind of things. Fine, here we have one article talking about the GI tags given to crafts from Rajasthan, mangoes grown in Goa. So basically guys, nearly 7 of the products have been given the GI tag. So we'll see this particular article with respect to the examination prelims point of view. Then further moving on, after that we come to the editorial page, and on the editorial the first article, dangers in the digital personal data protection bill. We'll see this particular article. Bus right to equality article is talking about the Shakti scheme. We'll see this particular article also. Then after Supreme Court remarks, Manipur, the BJP must replace the CM. So on the moral grounds, the CM should be replaced because such a big crisis is going on. So it is to be seen whether government will take some action or not. But for the exam, much important substance is not there in this article. Then the IIM Bill is a bold move. We'll see this particular article for the exam also. Then below, climate finance adds another layer of inequity to climate change. We'll take this particular article for the examination. Then guys, further moving on, after that we reach to the text and the context page, and on the text and context page the first article is the Holocene Climate anomalies. Okay, we'll see this particular article for the examination as what it is containing. Then what can the amended Forest Conservation Act can change. We'll see this particular article because recently we have seen that in the Lok Sabha the Forest Conservation Act has been passed. So we'll take it up. Then Bhima, Koregaon and UAPA striking the balance between security and rights. So guys, this is an archive article. Archive article means that it was published in the past. Now when we talk about this particular article, this article was published in 2018. Okay, so this was when the Bhima Koregaon violence issue happened. So basically this article is more than 5-year old, and at that point of a time how the UAPA was imposed on the members and all such kind of things are being given. Okay, for exam point of view, much important substance has not been given in the particular case only. Okay, how the questioning was done, investigation, all such things have been given. Fine. Then moving on, after that mosque attacks in Millennium City. We're not required to go too much in detail in these particular kind of articles. Here we have one very important article, that is the panel submits report on subcategorization of OBC after six years. We'll take this particular article for the examination. Then further moving on guys, after that multiple searches carried out in Kashmir to trace militant recruiters. Okay, largely then the parliamentary debates, no trust motion debate from August 8, PM's reply on August 10. So opposition is saying that on the no confidence motion the discussion is not being carried and all such things. Guys, in this particular direction, please don't go too much in detail in this particular direction. Nothing much important for your exam has been given. Government introduces Delhi service bill in the Lok Sabha. So basically guys, yesterday also we have taken this particular thing that for the Delhi, when we talk about the Delhi, for the Delhi there was an amendment ordinance that was brought, and under this particular ordinance the National Capital Civil Service Authority was created. Now, this National Capital Civil Service Authority is a body which will be taking decisions on the matters of the civil servants, bureaucrats in Delhi. Now, this goes against the Supreme Court judgment, where Supreme Court has provided that all the matters with respect to the civil servants in Delhi are to be decided by the Council of Minister of the Delhi. But now they have created this body. So this bill has been now placed. Supreme Court will also hear that whether it was constitutional or not. Then further moving on, Center owes 6,366 crore in MG Narega wages to 18 states, union territories. Now guys, understand this particular thing. This article is actually giving the breakup that which states owe how much money for the MG Narega and all such things. For example, West Bengal is owed this much crore, Rajasthan is owed this much crore, Bihar is owed 669 crore rupees. Now when we talk about the MG Narega provides 100 days of paid employment. MG Narega provides 100 days of paid employment in the rural areas, and it is the scheme largely to beat the rural distress and to create the employment. But wages have not been delivered and so many of the pendings have been there. However, number datas neither you will be able to remember, more it will change also by the time your exam will come. So no need to go too much in detail in this particular direction. Then further moving on, Indian grant to be used in education healthcare will take this particular article with respect to the India Sri Lanka and the issues of the Indian origin people living in Sri Lanka. Then Myanmar junta shaves off 6 years from Sochi's 33-year prison sentence. So basically guys, we have seen that 3 years back there was the military that took over in Myanmar, and since then the National League for Democracy's leader Aung San Suu Kyi and political people who were in the opposition, they have been made as prisoners. Okay, so the Aung San Suu Kyi's 33-year prison term has been reduced by 6 years. But anyhow, people are not happy because this is outrightly a coup that has happened. Okay, then further moving on, after that we reach to the business page. In business page, the corporate trends etc. largely have been given. Nothing important in this particular direction for the exam. GST revenues registered 3-month high in July. So again, I have told you that you are not really required to go and track month by month GST collection, all such kind of things for the exam point of view. Then we have the sports page here, and guys, in the last we have the science page. Now understand, the science page is few days articles are actually relevant for exam, but few days the article is going too much in the hairline detail of a very small issue which largely is not important for exam. Now guys, what the today's article is talking about? The article, fine, first of all it reads, what does aspartame being possibly carcinogenic mean? Now guys, what is this aspartame? Okay, so basically when we talk about the aspartame is a sweetener that is used in almost every of the processed products. For example, when we talk about these products such as the sugar-free diet sodas, for example, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, sugar-free, fine, zero, okay, these drinks, iced tea, ice cream, low-fat yogurt, cereals, medicines, chewable vitamins. In every such thing, there is the presence of the aspartame. Okay, now guys, it is a kind of a sweetener. And this sweetener has been called as the carcinogenic. Who has declared it as carcinogenic? WHO, World Health Organization, has declared it as carcinogenic. Okay, now further in this particular article they are talking about what are the grade 1, what are the grade 2 carcinogenics, find how this particular process got completed and all such kind of things. Okay, so that is all which have been given here in this article. Too much you are not required to go in the detail. Fine. Sometimes these kind of questions come in the prelims examination. Thus, aspartame was recently in news. What it is? It is a meteor. It is a sweetener. It is a kind of a probe. Okay, anything they can ask. Then this is all about the overview of the entire newspaper, and with this I hope that you have understood that which articles are actually important. And now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, starting up guys, so in every class we start with the GS quotation, and the objective of this GS quotation is to give you certain ideas which you can use in your examination. Now, so guys, we'll take the quotation from the Jules Renard. So Jules Renard says that liberty is the right to choose, freedom is the result of the right choice. Okay, liberty is the right to choose. Okay, and every democracy gives you many different types of liberties, liberty with respect to your religion, liberty and with respect to the expression of your opinions, they have been given. And liberty is simply what you choose, the right to choose. But because if your right choices, you will be able to enjoy the freedom. Okay, so freedom is the result of the right choice. We can use this particular idea in the GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, issues related to governance, issues related to the rights, as well as in GS paper number 4, ethics also we can use this particular idea. So that is all guys about it. And now let's take the first article for the today. So first article that we are going to take is that the panel submits report on subcategorization of OBCs after the 6 years. Now, before going on in this particular article guys, I would like to give you some of the basic background information, and after understanding this particular background, we'll go in this particular article. Now, first of all guys, when we talk about India provides the reservation on the social criteria. Now understand this particular thing guys, we provide reservation on social criteria, we provide reservation on economic criteria, we provide reservation on the physical criteria. Now what is the social criteria? On the basis of social criteria, reservation is given basically, just a minute. So we have OBC, other backward classes reservation, scheduled caste reservation, scheduled tribe reservation. On economic criteria, government has introduced the economically weaker section reservation. And on physical criteria, the disabled people also are provided the reservation. Now the disabled people, earlier they were given 3% of the reservation, but that reservation has increased. Okay, after the 2016 Person with Disabilities Amendment Act came, it got increased to 4%. Okay, so these are the reservations. Now guys, today in this particular article, we will largely be taking up the reservation that is being given on the social criteria. So basically the OBC are given 27% reservation, scheduled caste are given 15% reservation, and scheduled tribe are given 7.5% of the reservation. Now guys, when we talk about the OBCs, in the OBCs there have been so many of the caste that are there. But over the past few years, there have been one particular concern. One particular concern is that there are few of the castes in the OBCs which are actually the dominant caste, and these dominant castes are largely taking up the majority of the benefit of the OBC. For example, let's say for the UPSC examination, let's say there were the 100 seats that were for the OBCs. Okay, and let's say within the OBCs there are the 3000 castes. Just a hypothetical idea I am taking. But actually it has been observed that out of these 3000 castes, there are certain 20-30 castes which have been dominant, and these 20-30 castes are actually taking nearly 70 to 80% of the total seats. Okay, so out of 100, 70-80 of the seats are being taken only by these 20-30 castes out of these 3000 castes that have been there in the OBC. So point is that few dominant castes, they are taking the maximum advantage of the OBC reservation. So therefore, what government did? Government constituted the Justice Rohini Commission. Government constituted the Justice Rohini Commission in 2017, and this Justice Rohini Commission was given one particular task, that you recommend the subcategorization of OBC category, subcategorization of the OBC reservation. Now what is the meaning of the subcategorization? Subcategorization means, for example, out of this 27%, which caste has to be given how much quota. For example, X caste will be given 0.1%, Y caste will be be given 0.5%, Z caste will be given 1%. So depending on the population of every caste within the OBC, every caste sub quota is also to be designed so that only few castes are not claiming the majority of the seats in the OBC reservation. So for this particular purpose, the Justice Rohini Commission was constituted in 2017. Now guys, when we talk about the Justice Rohini Commission, initially it was given the time of the 12 weeks, that within the 12 weeks it has to submit all its recommendation and the report. But guys, since 2017, 6 years have happened. 6 years have happened, and there have been the multiple extension that have been given to the Justice Rohini Commission. Now finally, the Justice Rohini Commission has submitted its report to the Government of India with respect to the subcategorization of the OBC. Now, so originally it has to complete the work in 12 weeks, but in 6 years it has done this particular work. Now guys, the report has been submitted to the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Now one thing I want to tell you guys, that as of now the report has not been made public, so we cannot know so we cannot know that what are the basic details and what are the basic ideas that have been contained in this particular report. But this particular report largely has suggested that largely it has broken the caste groups into the broad categories, and these broad categories have been given a specified quota. For example, group 1 has been given 5%, group 2 has been given 4%, group 3 has been given 7%. Likewise, so the caste groups have been broken in the broad categories, okay, and the dominant caste, which were earlier claiming 70 to 80% reservation, they have now been given a small share out of the total 27% reservation, so that the historically crowded out caste groups means that the ones who were in large numbers but never got the OBC benefit, because the other advanced classes in the OBC were getting the majority of the benefit. So these caste within the OBC will now get its benefit. Is it clear or not? So over 2600 caste groups breakdown has been suggested by the Justice Rohini Commission. Okay, so this is guys all about it. I hope that you have understood it. I hope you all have understood. Now that is all guys about it, and now we will be moving in the next article. Okay guys, before this article, I just have one particular concern which I need to express here guys. See guys, the concern is this, that the response of you guys on the video has not been actually very much encouraging. Much of you neither there are encouraging. Now see, understand this particular thing. Few things I want to keep forward is that most of you know that there is so many of the engagements, particularly of the classes, but we try every day that we make the video on YouTube, including the notes as well as streaming the video. Now this takes a lot of hard work. I don't have a team or any such kind of a thing. I single-handedly make all the notes from the 4 a.m. in the morning, and we try to stream the video around 7:15 or 7:30. Making the notes and making a video takes a lot of effort, and I expect that you will engage in liking the video, or at least sharing the video, or at least commenting on the video. Now why we want your comments and likes on the video? It is because YouTube algorithm works in this particular way, that if you will show the engagement on the video in terms of liking it, in terms of commenting it, then the YouTube will prescribe that particular video to the other audience also. But because your engagements have been very though some students are there who every day comment and do engage on the video, but majority of them, if we just see the proportion, not even the 10% of the viewers are liking the video, and when we talk about the comments, around 1% or less than 1% are the one who are commenting on the video. In this particular way, our videos will never get promoted by the YouTube, and we cannot continue the initiative in such a way, because guys, you know that it has happened such a long time, and maintaining the quality content without any result cannot be done for infinity. So for the sake of the initiative, if you want that it should get continued, please show the engagement, because many number of times I have said this particular thing. So we will not be able to go with that if you are also not giving the contribution. So I expect your support in this particular thing. Fine. Moving on, the Holocene climate anomalies. Holocene climate anomalies. Now this particular article, guys, will see with respect to the GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3. Okay, the climate change, okay, and related issues. And with respect to the science and technology also, we'll take this particular article. Now, let me tell you some of the basic background information first, and then we'll go in the article's detail. Okay, so basically, guys, what has happened in the last few days, there are multiple articles talking about that the temperature in the month of July was highest in last 100 years. Somebody says it is highest in 200 years. But there have been certain reports which actually says that the temperature in the month of July was highest in last 1 lakh years. The temperature was highest in the last 1 lakh years. Now, understand why this is a problem. Now, why it is a problem? Because, guys, understand this particular thing, that how you measure the temperature of a particular day. You measure the temperature with the help of the thermometer. But a question comes that were there the thermometers 1 lakh years back? No, there were not the thermometers. So how the scientists, they can claim that 1 lakh years back temperature was this, today temperature is this, and today the temperatures are highest? How the scientists can claim that particular thing? So you need to understand that particular thing, that for these purposes the scientists, they use the paleoproxies. They use the paleoproxies. Now, what is the meaning of this particular word paleoproxies? Basically, guys, understand this particular thing. There are many of the historical specimens. There are many of the things on which the impact of the climate change is seen. For example, let me give you one example. For example, there is corals. There is the corals. Now, the coral will react in a particular way in a particular temperature. For example, if the temperature will become high, we see that there is the coral bleaching that happens. Coral bleaching is when the corals lose their vibrant color. Okay, so coral bleaching is an impact which happens when the temperature increases. Okay, likewise, there are the tree rings. Now, guys, the tree rings can be used to determine the age of a particular tree. But at the same time, there have been the trees which have been there for thousands and thousands of the years. By tracing their tree rings, we can also see that how the temperature have interacted on these. So basically, guys, understand this thing. We can see the impact of temperature on multiple things. For example, okay, tree rings, corals, shells of the marine organism, terrestrial organisms, their remains, their fossils. Then there are a lot of there are a lot of the stones, there are a lot of minerals under the lake, under the glacier, there are the rocks. So on all these particular things, when the temperature will change, some impact will come, and by tracing these particular impact, we can actually give an idea kind of a thing, that what was the temperature 10,000 years back, what was the temperature 1 lakh years back. Likewise, we can give a approximate kind of an idea. Now, point is that that when we talk about these paleoproxies, they do not directly measure the temperature, they just give us an idea. Okay, and they are simply the responses of physical, biological and chemical processes that begin in a particular thing, let's say in a particular fossil, in a particular stone, because of the temperature change. Now, point is that these paleoproxies, majority of these paleoproxies, these specimens which are actually used, they are buried in the ocean. Some of them are buried in the lakes, and constantly the water is being added into the ocean, the water is being added into the lakes, and a lot of microbes also are interacting on all these particular proxies. And because of this particular thing, what is happening, these particular proxies, they are getting diluted. Okay, constantly new influences are being imposed on them. The point is that they cannot tell exactly what was the temperature on 20th of July 50,000 years back. They can give you an estimate and that estimate might also be having the wide variation. They cannot give you the proper temperature range. Now further, the article is also talking about this thing, that the Holocene epoch is the present when the humans have evolved. This Holocene epoch began 9700 BC. Okay, and since then a lot of climatic change has happened, and Earth multiple number of times have witnessed the glacial age, which is the ice age, and then the deglacial age, that which is the age of melting of the glaciers. So in the Holocene also the deglaciation begin. Now the point is that, guys, that actually there is no chance that with the absolute certainty the scientist can claim that this particular date this temperature was there 1 lakh years back, 50,000 years back. Only there are the proximate ideas, and these proximate ideas will also vary a lot because of a lot of factors that are there. Now it has been said that the scientists, when they are coming and when they are making the absolute statements that in 1 lakh years highest temperature, these particular statements should not be made, because the people they place a lot of trust in the scientist community, and by making such kind of a claims there will be irreversible damage to that particular claim that will happen. So therefore the scientists should not make these particular kind of claims. So this is, guys, all about this particular article. I hope, guys, that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Now the article we have, it talks about the GI tag given to craft from Rajasthan, mangoes grown in Goa. Now what this particular article is talking about, this article, guys, will be important for the prelims examination. The article will be important for the prelims examination, and the article is actually talking about the GI tags that have been recently been given by the GI registry. Now this is very important because multiple number of times the question on the GI tag have been asked in the prelims examination. So basically when we talk about the GI tags, that what is the meaning of the GI tag? So GI stands for geographical indication. What is geographical indication? Let's say a particular type of a mango is grown in a particular area only. Darjeeling tea is grown in Darjeeling only. Okay, so there are certain products which are either grown or which are manufactured in a particular region only, and because of that particular thing we need to give them the distinct recognition so that their marketability increases. Now we have in India the Geographical Indication of Goods Registration and Protection Act 1999. Under this particular act the Department of Industry Promotion and Internal Trade within the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, it gives the GI tag to the different products. It gives the GI tag to the different products. Now it has given the GI tag to 7 of the products. That is number 1, Jalesar Dhatu Shilp. Now Jalesar Dhatu Shilp is from Uttar Pradesh. It is from Uttar Pradesh. Now guys, when we talk about the Jalesar, okay, now basically the Jalesar is in the Eta district in the Uttar Pradesh, and it was earlier the capital of the Magad king Jarasandh. It was the capital of the Magad king Jarasandh, and at this particular place there is the brassware, on the brass metal there is the engravings that are done. Okay, so basically this is a decorative metal craft done onto the brassware, that is the Jalesar Dhatu Shilp. It has been given the GI tag. Then the next is Goa Mankurad Mango. Goa Mankurad Mango. So guys, the Mankurad Mango, it was the word Malcorada was given by the Portuguese to this particular mango. Malcorada means poor colored mango. And since then this word Malcorado got changed into the Mankurad mango, and it is found it is grown in the Goa. It is also called as the Mankurad Amo. Amo means the mango in Konkani language. So this has been given the GI tag from Goa. Then Goan Bebinka. Goan Bebinka. So what is the Bebinka? Bebinka is a pudding. It is a traditional pudding, traditional dessert, Indo-Portuguese dessert, a pudding which have been given the GI tag. So next time you go Goa, try this Goan Bebinka. Then the next is Udaipur Koft Giri Metal Craft. Udaipur Gari metal craft. Now, what is this particular craft? So basically, guys, it is a craft to make beautiful weapons, swords, etc. Now, what happened? It is basically it is used for ornamental weaponry. So basically, what happens? So there will be the weapons that will be made, and in these weapons there will be the embedding of the gold and silver wire that will be done. For example, let's say this is a sword. This is a sword. Okay, within the sword there will be the silver and the gold wires that will be embedded, and a beautiful design, beautiful patterns will be made in the weaponry. This is the Udaipur Koftgiri metal craft. Then the next is Bikaner Kashidakari craft. Bikaner Kashidakari craft. Okay, so basically Kashidakari, it is done on the boxes, it is done on the gifts. So particularly in the marriage ceremonies, the beautiful boxes, gifts that are given, on that this Kashidakari, this craft is done. Okay, so here the mirror work is largely used, fine, for making the ornamental design, craft designs. Then the next is Jodhpur Bandhej craft. Okay, so you might have seen bandhani, tie and dye. So it is a method in which tie and dye will be done. The clothes, particularly the dupattas, will be dyes, and beautiful patterns, geometrical designs, etc. will be made. So it is tying and dyeing, where the fabrics are dyed. Then Bikaner Ustkala craft. Bikaner Ustkala craft. So it is a gold nakashi. Okay, so basically in the golden color there will be the crafts that are made. Nakashi is done. Okay, so this is about the GI tags that have been given, the latest GI tags, the 7 of them. Guys, please remember them, because direct questions on this particular thing has been asked into the prelims examination. Now moving to the next article. What can amended Forest Conservation Act change? Now we'll take this particular article, guys, with respect to the GS paper number 3. Fine. Issues of conservation. Now basically, guys, what has happened, by the way, we have seen it earlier also. So recently what has happened, the Forest Conservation Amendment Bill 2023 got passed in the Lok Sabha. Now the bill is awaited in the Rajya Sabha. Now what are the provisions of this particular bill? The bill has become very controversial amongst the climate activists. Now first of all, guys, this particular bill, it provides that what is the forest. So basically, guys, when we talk about the forest, there can be two meanings of the forest. Number one is the notified forest that the government has declared as the forest, and number two is the dictionary meaning of the forest. Now what is the dictionary meaning of the forest? Now dictionary meaning of the forest is that any patch of land where there are the sizable number of trees, that is called as the forest. Now what actually has happened, actually in 1996, Supreme Court gave a judgment, that is the Godvarban judgment. In the Godvarban judgment, Supreme Court said that the forest will mean any area where the trees are there, that will mean forest. Forest will necessarily not mean the forest which are notified by the government. So any area where large number of trees are there, it will be called as the forest. Supreme Court ruled it. But this particular bill is going against the Supreme Court judgment, and so it says that only those will be the forest that have been notified as the forest under the Indian Forest Act 1927. Other places where the trees are there, they will not be treated as forest. Now why government doesn't want to treat the other places as forest? Because when a place is designated as a forest, then the construction activities cannot go there, infrastructure cannot be built there, a lot of restriction comes. Then the approval has to be taken from the Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change for everything. So therefore, in not to obstruct the development, government doesn't want to give a big and expansive definition of the forest. Then the next, what has happened, the Supreme Court has also asked after 1996 that they have to identify and notify the deemed forest, but up till now the state government has not done that. Then guys, the next problem that the next provision number 2 of this particular bill is that basically what has happened, it removes the checks and balances in this particular act. Now understand this particular thing. Earlier, for cutting of the trees, there was the forest clearance permission that was needed, and the local community that is living there, tribal community, Adivasis, forest dwelling communities, whosoever was living there, their permission has to be taken. Their permission has to be taken. But now the permission is not to be taken. Okay, sir, what is bill? What is bill? Which bill, dear, you are asking about? Okay, so bill is a proposal for a law that is placed in the parliament. So before an act, before an act there is a bill. When the bill gets passed, it becomes a law, it becomes an act. Then the next, what has happened, this particular bill also provides that if any infrastructure is being created within the 100 km of national border, and if there is a forest, you don't need to take any permission. You don't need to take any permission. So forest can be cleared within the 100 km of the national boundary, fine, without a permission for the infrastructural projects because of the national security concerns. Now the activists and the experts, they raise a concern. They say that now we are competing with China and we are upgrading a lot of infrastructure on the border areas, and if government will not take the permission, as with the whims and the fancies, that forest particularly in the northeast region will be destroyed. And then the next problem that comes here is that this bill was not referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee. And as it was not referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee, most of discussion, debate has also not happened. Moreover, Ministry of Tribal Affairs have also raised the concern. Now understand this particular thing. Most of the tribal people live in the forest, and when you can dilute the forest, tribal people's right will get impacted. Their concerns, problems have not been taken in account in this particular bill. So these are, guys, largely the issues that have come here. And now we'll move to the next article. Climate finance adds another layer of inequity to the climate change. Now, what this particular article, guys, is actually talking about. So basically, see this thing. In the last few years, guys, what has happened? The climate finance has become a very big issue. What is climate finance? In 2009, in the Copenhagen, this particular proposal came forward that $100 billion are to be provided by the developed countries to the developing countries every year, so that they can adopt new technologies and they can reduce the climate change's impact. Okay, so that the poor countries can adopt the new technologies. But guys, the article is talking about this particular thing, that what has happened, the climate justice activists, they are saying this particular thing, that over the years, economically developed countries, okay, they have provided this particular thing, that the economically developed countries, they should raise their investment, but neither the investments have come properly. Moreover, the countries have not reached to the sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, Sub-Saharan Africa, etc. Now the article is saying that the countries in Sub-Saharan Africa, Latin America, South Asia, they have contributed least to the global warming. Their emissions have been the lowest, but at the same time, they are bearing the extreme phenomena of the climate change. They don't have money. They cannot invest into the clean technologies, but the rich countries are also not helping. They are not giving the money properly. Now, here there are some data. So guys, first of all, if you see the emissions by the different countries from 1980 to 2021, you can see that the UAE has done 21.8% of emission. USA has done the 14.9% of the so basically this is the emission in tons per capita. So 21.8 tons per capita in UAE, 14.9 tons per capita in USA. And here you can see India is one of the lowest country. Similarly, the countries of Africa, Latin America, they have not emitted so much of the carbon dioxide, they have not emitted so much of the carbon, but they are the ones which are getting impacted, and the rich countries which have been the historic polluters, they are not paying them any money. Now, this particular chart shows the total approved climate fund and the actual funds that have been given. So basically, if we see the approved climate fund in blue, they have been very much high, but the actual money that is coming, they have been very much low. Okay, and then the next, if we see, very less contribution is being given. So nearly even 1.5% of the GDP of the countries, this is even that much amount is not being given as a climate finance to these particular countries. So point is that very less money is being allocated. Even the money that is being allocated, that is not coming, and the rich countries have not taken the responsibility in this particular respect. So it talks about the climate inequity, climate injustice that is going on. So that is all, guys, about it. And now moving to the next article. Bus Right to Equality, the Wheels of Change in Karnataka. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 1 and GS paper number 2, issues and schemes related to the women. Now, so basically, guys, this article is talking about, is basically talking about the Shakti scheme of the Karnataka government. Under this Shakti scheme of the Karnataka government, the women have been given the free travel in the state buses. They can go at any place and free travel has been given to them. It is being said that it is given to the women so that they get accessible and safe transport, and it is very much important for those women who belong to the poor families or women who are not financially independent, who are financially dependent on their spouses, and for everything they have to take permission from their husbands or spouse if they want to go anywhere. It restricts the women's mobility. Now, many different state governments have come out with the similar scheme. For example, Delhi government gives the free bus travel to the women. Then, guys, the government of Punjab, government of Tamil Nadu in 2021, they also introduced the similar policy. Now, this particular policy have been criticized on two of the fronts. Number one, it has been said that it is a kind of a freebie. So when the government is giving just the free handouts, it is a kind of a freebie. And second, it is discriminatory to the male. But guys, when we talk about the freebie issue, you need to understand that it is not the freebie, rather it is a social justice entitlement, and government gives many of such kind of an entitlement to the different people. For example, in the public school, free education is being given. In the public hospitals, free healthcare is being given. In public parks, you are being allowed to go and do some recreational activity. Then free of cost roads are being provided. Many people park their cars on the roads. Government is not taking any of the parking fees. So basically, freebie government gives in many fields, but actually that is essential. And giving government free bus ride is something which will empower the women, particularly the poor women, because poor women, a majority of their income is getting lost just in the commute. Further, when we talk about that it is discriminatory, so Article 15 is used by the people. It is said that under Article 15, discrimination on the basis of sex have been provided, that cannot be done, and it is a kind of a discrimination that is going on. But on that particular front, guys, we know this particular thing, that already female students are given the scholarship by the government, and Article 15 subclause 3, it very clearly provided that the state can make special provisions for the women and children. Okay, and Supreme Court in the PB Vijay Kumar judgment provided that the reservation to the women is a recognition of the fact that for centuries women have been made socially and economically handicapped, and now by giving some special reservation to them, we are empowering them. So these are, guys, all the arguments in the justification of this particular scheme. I hope that you have understood. And now moving to the next article. The dangers in the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill. Okay, so basically, guys, we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to the privacy. So basically, guys, government has introduced the Digital Personal Data Protection Bill in the Parliament. And as government introduced this particular bill, the members of the opposition, they have walked down. They say that the copy of the bill was not shown to us, and we don't know that what was contained in the bill earlier. Now, when we talk about this Data Protection Bill 2022, it has been criticized on multiple fronts. And the biggest criticism of this particular bill is coming because it is trying to amend the RTI Act, Right to Information Act. Now, when we talk about the RTA Act, Right to Information Act, it has actually increased the transparency in the India and actually has been very much important for empowering the people, for empowering the citizens. Now, because of the RTA Act, people get the information and they hold the government accountable. Now, Supreme Court also provided that sometimes personal information fine can also be provided. For example, Supreme Court said that the citizens have a right that they can know the name of the willful defaulters who have taken the loan and are not giving back. So details of the details of the willful defaulters, the details of the people who have committed maximum of the NP in the public banks, their details can also be given. So their names can be given. Now, when we talk about, guys, the RTA Act, within the RTA Act, let's understand that what the problem is coming, what is the controversy. So within the RTA Act, there is the section 8 subclause 1 subclause J. Now this section 8 provides that personal information is exempt from disclosure. Personal information will not be provided under RTA Act if it has no relation with any public activity, or if it is some unwarranted invasion on privacy, then the private information cannot be given under the RTA Act. RTA Act provides this very clearly. The point is that there is no problem. If any person is asking the personal information, that will not be given. But now the government is coming an amendment, and with this amendment it is saying that in no case all the personal information is not to be shared. Now, what about if you want to know that Mr. X has done the corruption or not? So Mr. X's personal information cannot be given. So this particular thing is defeating the RTA Act's spirit. It has been said that further, under this particular data protection bill, there are other dilutions also that have been done. For example, there is this data protection board that will be created to see whether the privacy is being upheld or not. Fine, but this data protection board, it is a very weak institution. Central government will be empowered to determine the strength, composition of this board, how the member will be selected. Now understand this particular thing, guys. Today, government is the holder of the majority of the data. Your Aadhaar information, biometric information, all is with the government. And government can be the one which can breach your private information, can misuse your private information. So against the government, we need a protection. But as the data protection board will be appointed by the government, it becomes a toothless body. So all these particular concerns have come in this particular direction, guys. I hope you have understood. Now moving to the next article. The IIM bill is a bold move. Now, guys, you are not really required to go too much in detail in this particular article. The article is just talking about the 2017. There was the IIM Act, Indian Institute of Management Act, that got passed, and it created the Board of Governor for the IIM, which will be independently looking for the IIM's autonomy. So IIM is to be given the autonomy to design their own course, to design their pedagogy, and for this the Board of Governor was given. But guys, 6 years have happened. Very few of the 20 IIM have actually constituted this Board of Governor, and the governance failures are going on in the IIM. So in 2023, the IIM Bill 2023 has been proposed, which will take back the power from the IIM. Now, it has been provided that there is a governance vacuum that got created in IIM because they have not used their power properly. And now, the President of India will be made as a visitor who will appoint the chairman of the BOG, that is the Board of Governors. Now, the article is saying that sometimes government has to interfere in the higher educational institutions. We gave the autonomy to IIM, but IIM did not use that autonomy properly, and governance vacuum developed. Okay, this is only the thing that has been given. Beyond that, nothing much important is given in the article. Then, Indian grant to be used in education, healthcare in the Sri Lanka's estate areas. So basically, guys, recently the President of Sri Lanka visited India, and as a part of the visit, India has provided 75 crore rupees grant to the Sri Lanka, which will be used for the well-being of the Sri Lanka's Malaya Tamil. Now, what are the Malaya Tamils? Malaya Tamils are the Tamilian people who went from Tamil Nadu to Sri Lanka, and right now they are living in the hilly regions of the Sri Lanka and are working on the tea plantation. Now, they have long been neglected. Their welfare have been neglected. So, the 75 crore rupees grant have been given by India. Old creches will be upgraded into the child development center. Then medical dispensaries will be developed. Healthcare will be given to the people. So this $9 million, 75 crore rupees grant have been given. There are around 1.5 lakh Malaya Tamils that are living, which were taken there by the Britishers, and for their development we have given. So this is the way as how India is reaching to the Tamilian community living in the Sri Lanka. As an example, in India-Sri Lanka relation, you can put this particular dimension. Then next we have the mains practice question. The question reads, discuss the efforts taken by the central and state government for women empowerment, which is derived from a need to confront the realities of a deeply patriarchal society. This will be the GS paper number 2 10 marker question. So that is all.